Today I'm going to speak a message in a two-part series. I'll continue next week. But I call this message, Where Are the Nine? Being at the forefront of this commission gives me a very unique opportunity to reflect on our journey of faith as a church and also acknowledge how far God has brought us and to afford all of us an opportunity to celebrate and honor God with our substance. Our thanksgiving must be more than just a heartfelt sentiment. It must be very deliberate. It must be cultivated. It must be a nurtured response to the daily blessings in our lives. As a church, we are incomplete without expressing our deepest gratitude to God. Whilst we may have complaints which are justified, thanksgiving is the pathway to life. Many of us pray very fervently, yet often we forget or we neglect to thank God fervently. And I want to show you that thanksgiving holds greater power than just prayer. We're going to look at the example of David, a man after God's own heart. In Psalm 55, verse 17, we see David praying 3 times daily, in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the night. So look at it. Psalm 55, verse 17. Are you there? 1, 2, go. Let's read it. Evening and morning and at noon will I pray and cry aloud, and he shall hear my voice. So we see a pattern. David praying 3 times a day. Now look at Psalm 119, verse 164. Because that's not all. Apart from his prayer, he also made it a point to thank God more 7 times a day. So let's read 119, 164, 1 to go. 7 times a day do I praise thee because of thy righteous judgment. So you can see the intentional rhythm of prayer and thanksgiving, which transformed David's life. He prayed 3 times a day, but he came before God to thank him 7 times a day. And that is what earns him a reputation as a man after God's own heart. David is a very thankful and grateful person, as we are going to see. He wasn't just appearing before God because he had requests, I want this, I want this, I want this. But he spent more time giving thanks to God. I pray that we shall follow his example and cultivate a deeper relationship with God through prayer and also through heartfelt thanksgiving. I'm going to show you 4 areas or 4 things or 4 elements of thanksgiving. Gratitude and thanksgiving is predicated upon these things. Number 1, thanksgiving is recognizing that my accomplishments are not just my own doing or effort. Instead, they are the result of a team effort by many people who have invested in my life. So anybody who can say thank you, can identify that even though I may have achieved something, I also recognize that other people contributed into that achievement. And therefore, I owe them some appreciation. For instance, I may have passed my exams. I was the one who wrote the exams and I passed it. But I acknowledge the teacher who guided me, my family members who supported me, and the friends who encouraged me along the way. At the end of the day, you'll say, Bernard has passed his exams. But you see that there were other people who helped me. If I got a job through an interview, I recognize that I went for the interview and I passed. But somebody created the job, the office, the work. Somebody interviewed me. Somebody even may have coached me to pass the interview. So you find out that when you are giving thanks, you are actually recognizing that my thanksgiving is not just my own doing, but there are other people who helped me to become who I am. The second thing, it is in remembering, reflecting, and recognizing that I have received help beyond my efforts and capabilities. And I'm expressing gratitude to all those who have made a positive impact in my life. 3 words: remembering, reflecting, and recognizing. Expressing gratitude is about remembering the people who have helped me along the way. It is reflecting on how their support and guidance has made a positive impact in my life. When I acknowledge and thank those who have assisted me, what am I doing? I'm recognizing that I didn't do everything on my own. And after all, we don't thank ourselves for our successes. We thank those who have helped us achieve them. Anybody who says, I don't have anybody to thank, or I don't thank anybody, is actually saying that I'm thanking myself. Everything about me is only me. Now, that is a very myopic, parochial view, because you don't understand life and you don't recognize people. And I'll tell you a secret of life. Many people who are rich because they have input of other people and they recognize them. Poor people usually have nobody to say thank you to. Poor people never have anything to give to other people. They don't recognize other people. They think nobody has helped them. And they go through life thinking that I am alone. If you want to break the cycle of poverty, you need to begin to recognize and appreciate other people in your life. Thirdly, thanksgiving also helps me appreciate the blessings I often take for granted, like good health, loving relationships, and the gift of life itself. It is a humbling reminder that not everyone enjoys these privileges. And by giving thanks, I actually celebrate people, I celebrate experiences, and the circumstances that make my life richer and more meaningful. So I'm going to give you an example. Suppose your mother has been very instrumental in helping you through a challenging time, providing emotional support and helping you with daily tasks. One day, you take a moment to go to your mother to express your gratitude to her. You sit her down, you look her in the face or in the eye and say, Mom, I just wanted to take a moment to thank you for everything you've done for me lately. Your support and your love means the world to me. And I don't know what I would have done without you at that time of my life. Your help has taken a huge weight off my shoulders, and I'm so grateful for your presence in my life. And I intentionally use the mother for this example because there are a lot of people we take for granted that they are there, so it's their duty, they should be there. And so you never appreciate a husband who comes home every day. You never appreciate a wife who cooks for you every day. You never appreciate your parents who pay your school fees or your teachers who teach you because you think it's their job. You see? But you will find out that there are things that they can decide not to do. But they pour out their lives in doing those things. And so you must, as a sign of gratitude, express appreciation. In this example I gave, giving thanks to your mother, for example, who has made a significant impact in your life, helps you celebrate her. I can imagine how your mother will feel if you just stood in front of her and say, Mom, thank you just for cooking for me the whole year and giving me something to eat. It doesn't mean she's perfect, but you are acknowledging somebody in your life and acknowledging that at least somebody has added to your life. The challenging time you've been through has taught you resilience and appreciation for supportive relationships. So you were in the hospital or you were not well and she nurtured you back to health. She was there. Sometimes she takes a day off at work just to be with you. And you are recognizing that experience that you went through with supportive relationships. It is true that if maybe she wasn't there, you would still have not died. But you recognize that she supported you through it. She came to visit you. She cooked food for you. She even asked how you are doing. And then you recognize the opportunity to have a loving and supportive family like your mother. Because there are too many relationships around us we take for granted. Till those relationships are not there, then we complain. By expressing gratitude, you strengthen your bond with your mother. You acknowledge the value of her support, and you reflect on the positive experience of having a supportive family member. Don't take people around you for granted. Number 4, giving thanks has a profound effect. Why? It motivates the giver to continue blessing. So once you go to your mother and you express thanksgiving, next time you are not well, you have motivated her to do it again. But when somebody offers you a supportive relationship and you don't do it, you find out that the next time you may be in the same problem, that person is even reluctant to help you because you didn't express gratitude. When we express gratitude, it inspires the one who has received our thanks to do even more. On the other hand, ingratitude has negative consequences. When doors of opportunity unexpectedly close, it may be a sign that we have neglected to show appreciation. Let us be very intentional and mindful to God for his goodness and his provision in our lives. By doing so, we open up ourselves to even greater blessings and favor. You know, you come to church every day. You come and pray. You believe God from the beginning of the year. You are fasting. You are thanking God. You are looking forward to opportunities. The year is coming to an end. Have you been blessed by God? I told you that next week we'll talk about 5 reasons why we thank God. And we'll look for 5 people in our lives that we should say thank you to. And I want to give you this as an assignment, that every one of you, you start remembering, you start reflecting, and you start recognizing help into your life. Poor people don't. Rich people do. That is why at the end of the year, rich people look for people they've done business with. They've looked for people who have invested into their lives, and they may send a token gift of a hamper so that the business and the relationship will continue. If you don't express thank you in a cycle, people exit from your life. The people who stay in your life are people you remember to recognize and to express gratitude to. How to communicate gratitude? The ultimate goal of thanksgiving is to convey your sincere appreciation to the person who has made a positive impact in your life. What did I say? Sincere appreciation. You see, thank you is not just an arbitrary gesture. Oh, let me just do something. Because it's saying, so let me just do something. People want to feel that they are appreciated. So, when you are saying thank you, you want to convey sincere appreciation. As a guideline, you should aim to express your gratitude until the person you are saying thank you to truly feels seen, acknowledged, and even slightly embarrassed by the depth of your appreciation. So again, I know that if I ask you, who is the most important person in your life? Oh, God. Really? Will you say thank you for him to feel it? Will it be sincere? Oh, as for my father, as for my boss, would you say thank you just as a gesture? Just to, Ebahu, you should pass. Or would you express your thanksgiving in a way to convey a very honest appreciation? The expression of your gratitude should be proportional to the value of what you have received. In other words, when you are saying thank you, your thank you must match the cost of what you have received. Your thanksgiving should be as big as the blessing you received, or the size of your thank you should match the size of your gift. And I'm going to give you a very simple scenario. Let's imagine 2 scenarios. You don't have a pen to, write. Yeah? And then somebody lends you his pen. You may just say, oh, thank you for giving me your pen. Somebody may just say, the pen, and just walk off. But at least somebody gave you a pen. You see, somebody gave you a cup of water. Somebody directed you. Somebody picked you up. Don't take things like that for granted. Somebody called to check on you. There's an element of thanksgiving that you just offer. Thank you for lending me your pen. I really appreciate it. And you may just walk off. But look at another scenario where somebody, a family member, again, donates a significant amount of money to help you pay for a life-changing surgery. You'll find out that even though 2 people have done things to you, the value is not the same. You can't just say the same thank you said to the one who gave you the pen, the same way you say thank you to somebody who has helped you recover from a life-changing surgery. So a thank you will suffice for the pen, but you need a more elaborate and heartfelt expression for a significantly bigger gift. Can you understand? So the same way you say thank you to somebody who has given you a pen is different from the same way you thank you for somebody who has helped you pay for a life-changing surgery. So you can't go through life, everybody, Benke, thank you. Oh, thank you. You pick a phone call, thank you. Some thank yous can be done on phone. But believe you me, not every thank you can be done on phone. Because not everybody has helped you in the same way. What I'm saying doesn't make sense to you. Okay. Because if you don't learn it, and for poor people, usually, oh, I'm shy. So you don't show up to say thank you to anybody. I'm going to show you the example. Where are the 9? Because you will understand why Jesus commented on it. Somebody who has changed your life by his injection into your life is on a higher level. And that is why we are, as a church, we are coming back to say, Pape, yedawasi. And we will do it more than somebody who has given us a pen or somebody who has given us directions. So for me, my highest thanks, if I truly mean it, will go to God. And I'm not just saying it, I mean it. Because I can remember, I can reflect, I can recognize. I said reflect because somebody who is going to say thank you must have remembered. You don't forget. Human beings easily forget. So ungrateful. But somebody says, I won't forget. If it had not been for the Lord on my side, tell me where would I be? But you see, we take it for granted. Oh, every day I come to church, this, that. And you forget to be thankful. So for you as a child of God, I know that if I ask you who has been very instrumental in your life, oh, as for God, I don't play with him. Let's see the extent of the gratitude and whether it is commensurate with what you have received. When I'm saying thank you, I must share my feelings. So I must express how your support has affected me emotionally. So I can say something like this: I'm so relieved and thankful that God brought you into my life. Your help at this particular time took a huge weight off my shoulders. Wow. You see, you think about what you are going to say. The word thank you actually is a sum of a lot of emotions and words. But you must be able to express. That is why I'm asking you to choose 5 things. And you are going to express them. And say, for this reason, when I was in school, when I was in the hospital, when I was going through that operation, for this reason, I'm coming to say thank you. If you cannot have reasons to say thank you, it will just be a mere formal gesture. Then number 3, you must acknowledge the sacrifice. Recognize the financial sacrifice they've made for you. And you can say things like, I know this wasn't an easy decision for you to have taken that money to help me on my hospital, on my surgery. Because the person who took that money and paid maybe 10,000 for your surgery or sent you to the hospital, he could have used the money for a lot of other things. So I know it was a huge decision for you, but your generosity changed my life. Wow. Then there must be what I call written expressions. Sometimes you must write a heartfelt letter expressing your gratitude and how their support has impacted your life. Sometimes you must buy a card and give them a thoughtful, personalized card with a message of appreciation. Or you can send an email or a text that expresses your gratitude, your thanks. So I've shown you verbal, I've shown you written expressions. Then there's what I call the tangible expressions. where you can give a gift that represents your appreciation, such as a personalized item or a sentimental keepsake. So let's say you saw a t-shirt that says, "You are the best in the world. You are the best father. You are the best. You are my hero." And in saying thank you, you present something like that just to say, or even send a crate of eggs, or what else? Yam. And I'm just using that example. I'm not saying everybody in the church go and buy yam. Okay. In our days, we used to do oto and eggs, isn't it? And we share a meal with people like that. Sometimes you can even offer to help in some way in the future, whether financially or through a thoughtful gesture. I mean, if somebody's mother has helped you when you didn't deserve it, it would be nice to be good to the person's children, isn't it? Or to offer to help one way or the other. Or when the person is going through a crisis, maybe a funeral, or one of the person's child is getting married, to be there to offer help. This idea where poor people, you never attend a program. Every time you go for a program, we're going to demand money. Every time you go for a program, we're going to eat because we want to eat. You see, these are the things that make people poor. A thankful heart. You find out that the person's daughter or the person's child is getting married, or there's a funeral. You go there to go and support and say that because of what you have done, I'm also there for you. Then you can have expressions that are regular, where you keep them updated on your progress and recovery so they can see the impact of their support. You can also, through small gestures, show your appreciation, as maybe once in a while cooking their favorite meal, or helping with errands, or maybe you go to town, you see something, some nice eggs that are big. You decide, "Oh, these eggs, I'm going to buy them for mother so-and-so. I'm going to help her clean the house. I'm going to help her watch her baby." When I started talking about transformational value of wealth, you see, these are the things I'm talking about. And anybody who's growing up and does not have these things in your life, believe me, you struggle. Then there is what I call the annual acknowledgement, where you mark the anniversary of your surgery. You were discharged on 23rd October. So every 23rd October, you remember the person who paid your surgery fees for you, and you call, or you go to the person and say, "Thank you, I remember, I can't forget." There are things in your life you must never forget, and you must be eternally grateful. Is somebody here with me? Are you here with me this morning? Remember, the most important thing is to be sincere and genuine in your profession, your expression of gratitude. The goal of Thanksgiving is to make the person who has helped you recognize how grateful you are. You do not stop till you're embarrassed. So if, for example, Pastor Mansa has helped me, I don't just come and say, "Pastor Mansa, thank you," then I just walk off. You see, I need to look her in the eye. I need to say it so often that she now sees that, Charlie, this guy, he really appreciates me. I don't just do a one-off gesture. So I'm teaching you this because I know next week Sunday is our Thanksgiving offering. I don't just want you to come in, "Okay, Thanksgiving offering," then just come and drop something. "Oh, but okay, thank you." These things that I'm teaching you, enter into his gates with thanksgiving. It means thanksgiving is heavenly. That your access to heaven and to the presence of God starts with a grateful heart. That I didn't deserve it. You gave your only begotten son for me. That nobody has ever done that for me. I can't forget you. That is why Christmas time, I take the opportunity to mark my calendar and to remember. It's not a one-time gesture you just throw away and now you can't be reached. Everything is like you are yourself. You reflect, you remember, you reflect, you recognize. And I'm coming to that in a few minutes. So that as a church, we will be a grateful church. As a family, we'll be a grateful family. As individuals, we will look back and see how far we have come. And when I began to think of what the Lord has done with us from January, I was like, what? I sat down with my wife and I said, let's look through the year. What has the Lord done for us through this year as a couple? What has the Lord done for our children? What has the Lord done for us personally? We must be able to reflect. So, forgive me, you will see that a poor person doesn't reflect. That is why I'm intentionally doing this. Because before we come next Sunday, there should have been a reflection. And the whole week, everybody sit down and write 5 things you are grateful to God for. Human beings have a tendency to be ungrateful. The goal of Thanksgiving is to make the person recognize how grateful you are. And we often only turn to God when we are in pain, when we are going through affliction, or when we are suffering. And when we are in need, then outwardly, we may show some signs of devotion and service. But as soon as we have our needs met, gratitude and devotion then fades. We don't look for opportunity to say thank you again. So you've been praying from the beginning of the year. You've even committed grievous sins. God, forgive me. You've forgotten how it was when you felt like, Charlie, I'm no longer accepted. And how God forgave you and removed that heavy guilt and still allowed you into his presence. Can you say thank you? Can you say thank you for how he has helped you through difficult times of grief, of pain, of suffering, of bereavement, of loss? But he was there. He never left you, nor forsook you. Will you remember to honor God when you are no longer in need? You see, when you are in need, it's very easy. But when you are not in need, what you do shows that you are grateful. And I'm going to tell you the story. We'll end with the story of the 10 lepers. Because all these things I'm saying, you will find it summed up in the 10 lepers. Where are the 9? Would you still acknowledge and thank him for all the blessings he bestowed upon you when you are no longer in need? So there are people, when you are looking for a job, when you are looking for healing, you are there in church, you are giving your tithe, you are giving your offerings. That time, no problem. Then God gives you the job. You see, now you no longer need him. What do? That's when we will see whether you are really a grateful person. When you're on the hospital bed, it's easy to pray. But when it heals you off the hospital bed, then we'll see whether you are grateful. Because the gratitude is not so much expressed when you are in pain. It is expressed after the pain. What you do. When you're looking for a job, Father, in the name of Jesus, I'm fasting, I'm believing God, I'm sowing seeds. Yes, we all see that. But when you have the job now, that is when we see. So Luke chapter 17, verse 11 to, I believe, verse 19. The story of the 10 lepers. When you don't need him. And it came to pass as he went to Jerusalem that he passed through the midst of Samaria and Galilee. And as he entered into a certain village, there met him 10 men that were lepers, which stood afar off. And they lifted up their voice and said, Jesus, Master, have mercy upon us. How many people are at the prayer meeting? 10. You see the numbers? Okay. So sometimes when you come for a prayer meeting, most of the people at the prayer meeting, Jesus, have mercy upon us. We are lepers. We too, we want to belong. We are poor. We too, we want breakthrough. We are looking for a job. We are looking for husbands. We are looking for children. We want to belong. And at that point, they shout. They cried with a loud voice. They were not ashamed. Have mercy. They stood afar off. You could hear their voices from outside because they had a need. And when he saw them, he said unto them, go, show yourselves unto the priest. You see, there's a stage in your life where obedience can't even be assessed as whether it is genuine or it is because of a need. So why do you come? I'm looking for something. I'm obeying God. Whatever God tells me, I'll do. If he says give cry, actually, I won't argue. If he says come for a cell meeting, I won't have a problem. Why? Because I need something. And I need to make myself a good boy. I need to make myself a good girl. I don't have excuses. Work is not an excuse. My parents are not an excuse. Nothing is an excuse. Charlie, God, I did for you. And it came to pass, as they went, they were cleansed. See, obedience. Their hearts may not have been right, but their obedience yielded some results. But verse 15 is the turn around. And one of them, when he saw that he was healed, he turned back. He did what? He did what? Turn to the person next to you and tell the person, will you turn back? You see, they came when they were sick. Now they are healed. They won't turn back. Now they have a job. They won't turn back. Now they are graduates. They won't turn back. Now they have a post. They won't turn back. All of a sudden, they've forgotten. I told you, human beings, that is why deliberately we are coming to this point where we will spend the whole week. We will remember every one of you. Because your future is being negotiated by your ability to say thank you. Hello? One of them, when he saw that he was healed, turned back and with a loud voice glorified God. How was he praying? Loud voice. How did he say thank you? Loud voice. Loud voice. You know, sometimes the thanksgiving is very subdued. I told you, you must say thank you till you embarrass somebody. Isn't it? So can you imagine you are saying thank you? Pastor Mansa, thank you. Pastor Mansa, oh, you are done. You see, oh, Pastor Mansa, thank you. Oh, me no fear name. Me no fear because you are embarrassing her. But usually when people go to say thank you, oh, when I called, I've called him, I didn't get him. You wonder why your future is hard. You wonder why tomorrow you struggle. Because now you have an excuse. When you are coming for the prayer meeting, you didn't have an excuse. But suddenly, excuses have started coming. When they were standing afar off and they saw Jesus, they immediately recognized him. Now you are healed. You don't even recognize, oh, today is Christmas. I'm not sure. I thought Christmas was next week. Now you have other more important meetings than waiting for Jesus. So Christmas Day, your family members, when you were a leper, they couldn't help you. Christmas for a leper means that you can't even enter a family gathering. Wedding means, no, even if your brother is getting married and you are a leper, you can't go. But all of a sudden, the people who couldn't help you are the people who now determine when Jesus will come into your life. And when you come into a church, it's like, you don't come with a heart. It's like, okay, it's something that I can what fee. But where's your heart? Where's your loud voice? Where's your embarrassment? Where's your sincerity now? And look at it. Fell down at his feet. And on his face is Charlie. So you can see the thanksgiving is now getting embarrassing. He's recognized that, Charlie, some time back, I owe you. I'm a leper who has been healed. I haven't even started working yet. I may not have money, but by placing my life at your feet, I'm showing you that, Charlie, I did for you. You see, you can never be grateful to God and turn your back from him. You can never have somebody who is thankful that God, you are. And then the next minute, you turn your back and say, I don't have time. He rather fell on his feet. You see, going forward, when he was even praying, he didn't fall on his feet. But going forward, he's now falling on his feet, falling on his face at his feet. Asidao nana nyamio. Because now, dear, we don't even know what to do. God, we will embarrass you. We will now kneel in front of you. We will fall down. And the Bible says that he was a Samaritan. You see, this verse, he was a Samaritan, it's just a simple sentence. But ask yourself why it was put there. Because sometimes the Jews have an entitlement mentality. The church members, he's our pastor, he should be preaching to us. Sometimes some of the greatest messages I get, they're not for church members. People who haven't heard me before, they hear me the first time. What? People I go and preach somewhere for the first time. Wow. The church members, you are used to me. So sometimes the Samaritan is the one who gets blessed. Because you remember, let me call Pastor Bernard. It's Christmas time. I remember he came to preach once. I always tell you about the girl. 2014, I preached at ICGC. I met her at an office with Pastor Ebo. She ran. I didn't even know she was there. She ran to me and virtually hugged me. And I said, who are you? I pulled back embarrassed. Who are you? Said 2014, he preached a message on Central Campus. Changed my life. Changed my life. Thanksgiving. He was a Samaritan. Somebody maybe you have even done so much for, doesn't see. Sometimes the sad part is a mother can do so much for a child. A father can do so much for a child. A wife can do so much for the husband. The husband can do so much for the wife. And you find out that they take each other for granted. But somebody you feed once, somebody you help once, somebody's school fees you pay once. He was a Samaritan. So God has been doing it for you every day. God has been helping you every day. God has been blessing you every Sunday, every Monday, every Tuesday, every Wednesday, every Thursday, every Friday, every Saturday, every Sunday, 24/7. And he was a Samaritan. Give me verse 17. And Jesus answered and said, were there not... What did Jesus say? Were there not 10 cleansed? But where are the 9? So that's the essence of my message. Because the 9 took it for granted. The 9 people had an entitlement mentality. For the 9 people, it was ordinary, casual business. Even though they've been through affliction, even though their past was horrible, something major has happened in your life. Something so major. Yet the next minute, it's casual. Something so major as coming to church, hearing the word of God. The next minute you walk out of the window, it's casual. So I know you come to church, they tell you, faith you must speak. You must believe. You must take it. But Jesus said, your faith, he summed it up. Your thanksgiving has completed what began in your life. When they didn't need him again, what did they do? They walked away. When they didn't need him again, what did they do? They ignored him. The real you is what you do when you don't need God. 10 lepers. Physical expressions still show that they suffered leprosy. But one of them turned back and with a loud voice fell at his feet, giving him thanks. we must master the art of thanksgiving. We must learn to worship and thank God in a way that makes people wonder, what has God done for you that warrants this level of thanksgiving and behavior? With a loud voice falling down on our faces, Father, I stand in awe of your faithfulness. I have witnessed this firsthand, that you can heal and you heal lepers. And I don't need to be reminded, and I don't take it for granted. You have kept me alive even in my leprosy. I didn't die. And I've survived crisis and overcome the wickedness of men. You see, when you're a leper, people mock you. Your whole life is mockery. Your whole life is being taunted. Your whole life is being rejected. And yet this guy said, I've come back. I've survived all the wickedness. It's a new beginning. I can't forget. I'm a beneficiary of your miraculous breakthroughs and unprecedented blessings. I am alive and I will praise you in the land of the living. I am a beneficiary of your word, which has transformed my life. You brought me life. You brought me deliverance. My God has delivered me and put my enemies now to shame. I cannot forget the mercies of God. And this is beyond my obedience. I obeyed you to go and look for the priest. But I know that this is beyond just my obedience. It's your mercy, your goodness, blessing me with what I didn't even deserve. And I count my blessings. Look at as a church, you've saved us from accidents. You've saved us from pain. You've saved us from financial struggles. You've made my school fees. You've paid my school fees and made my daily meals possible. Your mercies endure forever. It is a good thing to give thanks to the Lord. And I declare your faithfulness, Lord. Some of us were even once persecutors of the church. But look how your Holy Ghost has transformed us into prayer warriors, into singers, into soul winners, into people who are vessels of your grace. We give thanks, oh God, for your faithfulness. We've seen disasters and tragedies happen around, but you've spared us. Armed robbers have passed by our homes, but we are protected. Thank you, Father, for your unwavering faithfulness. As a church, we are very incomplete without thanksgiving. So we don't do thanksgiving as a formality. Oh, it's the end of year, so we are coming. No, we do it as a very serious, cultivated, conscious, nurtured response to this God. So look at the guy. I'm ending with this. When he was going, he was healed on the way. But when he came back, he says, your faith hath made you whole. You see, there's a great difference between being healed and being made whole. It meant that the whole miracle of God has stages. Listen carefully. There's the first part, and then there's the completion part. All the people who came for the first part and they obeyed, they got healing. But one person who came back got more than healing. He got wholeness. You can start a job. God can give you a job, but you are not whole. But he can take you into the job and also give you favor. God can help you start a business, but the business suffers and struggles. You are not whole. But he can also give you a business and give you clients and prosper you. Because at every stage, you come back to say thank you. What makes the miracle whole is that when you started, you came back and you said thank you. Then you enter into wholeness. Can you understand this? So you got a job. All of a sudden you are too busy to come back and say thank you. Hey, chairman. But when you came back and you found time to still come and say thank you, then God said, now I'll make you whole. Were there not 9? Were there not 10? But only you, after you got the job, you came back. Were there not 10 married? But you remembered at the end of the year to come back. Did 20 people not die? But in the midst of the death, one person came back. I can give you the example of Noah. Noah comes out of the ark. Everything around Noah is destroyed. But the first thing Noah does when he comes out of the ark is to say, Papi, thank you. Even though I've lost all my friends, I've lost all businesses, everything seems to be destroyed. You kept me alive. You sustained me. And in the midst of the loss, I see still a faithful and abiding God. And I step out of the ark into a new life. I say, Papi, thank you. We are not mindful of the things that may have gone the way we didn't want it. We are interested in what God has done for us. And that's why it says, in everything, give thanks. In everything, give thanks. It didn't say for everything, but it says in everything. Because it knows that not everything will be the way you understand it. Not everything may happen according to the way you understand it. But still, give thanks. Thanking God allows God to complete his work. Do not stop the miracle. All of a sudden, the one who makes womb has now made another womb. And apart from giving you another womb, he now gives you a child. Can you imagine? God gave you a boyfriend. You thought that was it. You didn't come and say thanks. You rather running away now, chopping and enjoying. But he says when you come back to say thanks, now the marriage will come on. Not everything is by human effort. Thanksgiving, it's a mystery. Not everything is because you went to school, because you are clever, because as for you now you have a job, you're okay. Appreciation, gratitude, your faith, thanksgiving is like you build the house. It was an uncompleted building, but thanksgiving allows the house to be completed and finished. And remember, finishing can be more expensive than the building itself. So what God does and finishes will overshadow what he began. He who began a good work in me, he shall complete it. So God doesn't just start and stop. He wants to finish it. He wants to finish it. Have you ever noticed how life on earth can be so unpredictable? Sometimes everything seems to be normal and quiet with no indication of a change on the horizon. But then suddenly things shift. Why? A divine alignment occurs and circumstances begin to unfold in your favor. Here's the interesting part. The earthly realm often resists and tries to frustrate the plans that have been established in the spiritual realm. So these lepers have been healed, but I wonder who is going to hire and employ a leper who you know he's been healed, but I wonder which family will allow him to come and marry, knowing he's been healed. I wonder which job will say, come and work for us. There may still be a stigma. But suddenly, the earthly laws can no longer hold back because the spiritual law of thanksgiving is going to break every barrier. So you are not just a healed leper. You are now whole. All of a sudden you can marry. All of a sudden you can get a job. All of a sudden people are not afraid of you. They believe you some way, somehow. Why? Because the handiwork of God. If you refuse to say thank you, you stop a process. Wow. Jesus expected everyone to come back and was surprised. But the Jews had a mentality. It's our right. I live on this earth. I don't have any rights. I live by grace and by mercy. I didn't get that job because I was clever. I'm not alive because I'm smart. I'm not a pastor because I'm the best. Grace abounds. And I'm thankful. And I remember every year to mark that anniversary and come back and say, Papi, yetawasi. Yediasida eni kabia mawu efirise une sewo. You see, the heart. It's not just a song. Oh, the heart. I'm sincere. Efrimakume muto. Because I'm grateful that God has preserved me in Choco. God has watched over me and my family. God has protected me. God has blessed me. The poor man, I don't have, I'll just stay somewhere. I'll even come to church next week because they are going to give offering. They said we should take envelopes, but I'll forget. I'll intentionally forget. And when I'm coming, I intentionally leave. You see, long before you come here, God has seen your heart, what you go through, the attitude you are coming with. Long before you arrive here. But the heart, David, 7 times I will thank you. I remember when I was a shepherd boy and I didn't have classmates, and all my classmates were animals, and even my brothers didn't like me. Now look at me, I'm a king. I remember 7 times I will praise you.